Hi, I'm a underwater camera operator, filmmaker based in Germany. I shoot all around the world for documentaries, but also commercial work, cinema movies. My usual setup is I usually shoot with the cinema cameras from Canon, and I use two Keldans to light up my subject. That's a basic setup for most of the work. And usually I use the 8X lights with an ambient light filter, depending on the depth. Now that Keldan has the new 8XR Ambient, I was first a bit skeptical, but the idea of it is brilliant. And I have to say, it's really innovative. I really like to see how Keldan is pushing and innovating in that, I say, niche area of underwater lights. And they come up with new lights every now and then, and you're like, oh wow, that's a good idea, and I really like seeing that. And then understanding the benefit of having the built-in ambient light giving you a higher output than using the 8X with ambient filter was basically a no-brainer for me to, I wanna try this out. I was very pleased with the output performance. You can clearly see that there's more light coming through than with the 8X and an ambient filter. Yeah, that is one of the main benefits. I really like to see the innovation Keldan is putting in there and how it is helping to improve the images, and it makes it just easier to work with. But there's more innovation in this light, which we have seen before, is with the remote control unit from Keldan, which is just so amazing to work with, because you first off save a lot of battery life, and the adjustments you can do so smoothly while you're recording. It's very quick. You don't have to hassle around and change your lights or change the positioning. And of course you can place them in different places. One of my biggest concerns was if I can use the light the way I would use an 8X light with the ambient filter, because I could just remove it. So if I'm deeper or have less ambient light, I'm in a cave or I do a night dive, can I still use it because I don't have the white light? But using just the manual white balance of the 8XR Ambient, you get pretty good results. I was very impressed, and the colors came out fantastic. So I didn't really, if I wouldn't know, I couldn't tell you if this was shot like a night dive scene, for example, that if it was shot with ambient light or a white light from Keldan. For those that haven't, and to understand why the ambient light is so fantastic, is you need to understand how it works. It blends basically in your subject with the ambient light, so you don't have a high color contrast. With a normal white light, you have to balance your camera on daylight, 5600, but that's not the color of your surrounding. So the moment your light stops or it doesn't hit the subject anymore, fish or the reef, all of the rest will white balance on your camera like daylight, and this gives you a wrong impression of the colors. And when you use the ambient light, the fall off of your light is very smooth and you don't even notice it. So it looks way more natural, and that's the whole benefit of using the ambient lights. On top of that, you can still adjust the colors with ambient light filters that Keldan develops. So if you go deeper, you can adjust the ambient light even with the ambient light. Does that make sense? Yeah. So let's say you go to 12 meters, you can adapt another filter for that depth. Or the same goes if you go shallower in the 3-meter range, there's a filter to adapt for that range. Of course, I really enjoy using the Keldan lights in general. They are super reliable. I have not had one failure. They're robust and they always work.